And it's thinking real hard. Okay, it thinks we're live. And again, LinkedIn Live. Could you be more complicated? Could you be? Are you a Microsoft product at this point? Maybe LinkedIn's whole pitch is when it shows LinkedIn Live for people who see it goes, and you thought Teams sucked. Here, let me show you what we can really do, what we're really truly capable when it comes to unnecessary from the people who brought you the Exchange server backend. It is LinkedIn Live, and that is a joke that only the nerdiest and oldest nerds will get. Hey, everybody, here it is, this weird thing I do every week or two where I invite my friends. I try to find the pick the independent people, the ones who aren't in big companies and in-house and agencies, the people who are solopreneurs such as myself, people who are in tiny, tiny, tiny little practices, the experts, not the Swiss Army knives, who are there to solve a particular problem. And today, we fit the bill pretty darn well. This is Rhona. I don't know if you know Rhona Pierce, but she is the workfluencer. In fact, we have the workfluencer in the house. Now, I've known Rhona for 2 years, 3 years. It's been a bit.
Yeah, like 3
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. And I met you when you were still in house before you really became and blossomed into the workfluencer. And there should be like soundtrack that comes with the word workfluencer, like a music style, like bam, the workfluencer, bam. Okay, I won't charge it for that because that was not good. But watching Rhona go from being in-house, the woman of many, 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 many hats, HR, recruiting, TA, all the pieces, little employer brand, what the heck, let's do some comms, why not? To really saying, you know what, ultimately it's about all this stuff is a lot of bullshit. And this is my words, not Rhona's. Maybe she'll swear too. There's no telling. But it's really about, in the end, the game is about creating influence. And I cannot love that more. So, as you may remember from previous episodes with some wonderful, wonderful people, I give the floor for 15, 20 minutes to my lovely partner here. Sometimes it's not so lovely. Once it was Brian Fink, not quite so lovely. Great hair, though. My God, that man has hair. But I'm going to give the floor up. I'm going to kind of step back, let Rhona just set the place on fire. And then I'm going to come back and kind of talk about how employer brand kind of sort of fits into that or whatever kind of sparks in sparks in this conversation. So with that, Rhona, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for wasting your time with me and my audience and bringing your intellect, your wisdom, your everything to this show. Take it away, Rhona.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And I mean, that intro, yes, I'm a person who has worn many, many hats, but the hat that I've always been the proudest of is being a storyteller. Um, and that has helped me in every single part of my career. So I'm excited today to talk about just that storytelling. But I wanted to take a different angle today. I want to talk about some of the content crimes that I see out there. But I want to start with a statement that is like, hill I will die on. There is no such thing as a boring story. There's just bad storytelling. And some of you are out here committing literal crimes in your content, and we really need to discuss. So I get it. That was a bit dramatic, but did I get your attention? Be honest. What did you feel when you heard that? Were you annoyed? Were you curious? Maybe you were ready to prove me wrong. And that's great because that's the point. That reaction that you just had, that's a hook. It made you feel something. And that brings me to crime number one, starting your post with, "We're hiring." Absolute number one pet peeve of mine. The hook is the most important part of your post. If you can't get someone to stop what they're doing long enough to read, watch, interact with your piece of content, you're just wasting time. If you can't grab someone's attention within seconds, nothing that you do next matters. Your goal isn't just to announce something, it's to provoke a feeling. So instead of starting your post with, "We're hiring," start with something that makes people feel. Say this instead: "Our hiring manager almost rejected the person who's now our top performer." You see the difference? That sets up a story. It makes you need to know why. Or we just hit a milestone we didn't think was possible last year, and now we need someone to help us break the next one. Again, people are nosy. They want to know what's next, right? Or every week, one of our team members helps someone land their first job in tech. We're hiring more people to keep that going. This one's especially good for mission driven brands. So you feel the difference, right? One tells me you have an open role. Great. So does every other recruiter out there. The other one makes me care about the story behind it. That's the difference between announcing and hooking or grabbing. It's the first step in my framework that I created called the GSD framework. Grab attention. So quick gut check for anyone out there in the comments. Who has posted "we're hiring" as the first line in your post this month? This is a safe space. Drop it in the comments. Let us know. James will be reading the comments and he'll let us know who has committed crime number one. So, all right, you grabbed attention. Now what? This is where most teams blow it, because instead of serving the audience, they start explaining themselves, right? And that's crime number two. Explaining instead of showing, and making it all about you and not your audience. We've all seen it. Content that reads like a press release in disguise. We're proud to announce our new initiative. Or one of my favorites, we're thrilled to be recognized as best place to work. We all know how you got that, by the way. And sure, that's information, but information doesn't move people, stories do. This happens because we assume that our audience needs details when they actually need is meaning. That's what they're looking for. We explain because we think explaining builds credibility, but clarity alone doesn't create connection. You need to make people see it, not just read it or hear it, right? So, how do you fix this? Well, that's the second part of the GSD framework. You fix it by serving. Serving your audience means giving them a reason to care. It's not about what you did, it's about what happened because of it. So instead of saying, "we value growth and learning," you can say, "every employee here gets a $300 learning budget. One engineer used it to take a UX course. Now she's redesigning the product she once just coded." That's what serving your audience looks like. You make them see the growth instead of telling them you value it. If your post can make one person say, "that's me," you're serving the audience. If it only makes them say, "that's you," you're still explaining. And like we all know, the real way to get a candidate to really care about joining your organization or knowing more about it, or like even replying to your recruiters emails and in-mails, is to let them picture themselves at your company. You can't do that with all that marketing and legal speak and, again, making your post look like a press release, right? So that's the S in GSD. It's serving. You don't explain your story, you illustrate it. You serve value, you serve clarity, you serve emotion. That's how you earn attention that lasts. So type "that's me" in the chat if you've ever written a post that sounds more like a press release than a story. And bonus points if you tag the person in marketing or legal that wrote it for you, because we all know how that works. We write something good in employer branding and in recruiting, and then we have to get approvals. And then they turn it into things that we don't want. And I have lots of content about how to get around that, right? But then crime number three is copy and pasting across channels. You fail to respect the platform that you're on. So you nailed the hook, you served the story, but then you take that same post and you copy and paste it everywhere: LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, your careers page, your mom's Facebook group, and then you wonder why it flopped. Different platforms, different people, different modes. Copy and pasting is like speaking the same language in 5 different countries. Technically, it works, right? But nobody gets your jokes. And the reason why this is a crime is because every channel has its own rhythm, its own why people are there. When you ignore that, you break the final step in the GSD framework, which is direct. And direct doesn't just mean adding a call to action, right? It means guiding the right behavior for that environment. So, how do you fix this one? How do you figure out what goes on each platform? Here's a quick guide. So, let's say LinkedIn, right? I know most of us are there. People come there to learn, to connect, to discuss, and to look for jobs. So, example of how to direct someone on LinkedIn is, what's one thing that your team does differently? This works because it turns your post into a two-way conversation, and then it signals thought leadership, right? Then we have TikTok and Reels, where a lot of recruiters and a lot of companies are out there um, posting their roles and creating content. I've been one of them, and people go to TikTok and to Instagram to feel something fast. So you can direct there by saying, if this hits home, share it with someone who needs to hear it, or you felt this too, right? It keeps the emotional energy going and it prompts engagement without sounding salesy. It's a less formal platform and just people act differently there. So you should act accordingly. Then I know a lot of us have email newsletters or just regular emails that you send to your pipeline. People are there to get value and take action. So, an example of how to direct there is, want to try this with your team? Reply and I'll send you the template. Or just things like that. It offers clear, low friction next move, and it's perfect for an audience that's already invested. And in theory, people on your email list are already invested. They want to be there, they want to hear from you. Unless you scrape their email and added them to your list without permission, but that's a whole other conversation. But then your career site or your blog, which is something that people don't consider, like people who post there, they don't consider that content, but it is content. And people are on your career sites, they're on your blog to research or evaluate your company. They really want to know. So, how do you direct them there? That's where you're like, meet the team behind this project or explore what it looks like inside this company. It converts curiosity into deeper exploration without hard selling, because you don't have to hard sell on your career site. Like, people already want to know more. The biggest misconception is that direct means tell people what to do. But directing is really about nudging and not nagging them and not forcing them to do anything, but like making them think that after they were hooked in, right? They wanted to know more. You served them, you gave them some value. Now they actually want to do this thing, they just don't know. So now you tell them what to do next. It's about knowing what action makes sense where your audience is already at. So again, instead of we're hiring, apply now, and then just post it everywhere, on LinkedIn, you can say, know someone who'd crush this role, tag them. On Instagram, what would you take this job? Drop and then put whatever favorite emoji you like. People love dropping emojis on Instagram. On YouTube Shorts, you can say, think this is what hiring, sorry, think this is what hiring should look like, hit subscribe. I've got more. Things like this. Just again, focus on why people are on that platform, what people do on that platform, and meet them where they're at, which is a buzz phrase that we love to say, but our content doesn't always reflect that we're meeting people where they're at. So when you direct the wrong way, you break the momentum you worked so hard to build. The goal isn't just to post more, it's to post intentionally. Every channel deserves its own ending. So, GSD, right? Grab with emotion, serve with meaning, and direct with intention. That's how you stop committing content crimes and start creating content people actually care about. And I want to know, quick check in the chat, what's your toughest channel to adapt for? Is it LinkedIn? Is it TikTok? Is it email? Pop it in the chat and I'll be checking in a few minutes and I'll let you guys know. So, we've covered the three biggest content crimes that I see every day. Crime number one is wasting your hook. You didn't grab my attention. You wasted those precious 2 to 3 seconds and you didn't give me a reason to care about what you were going to say next. So, you wasted your time way more than anyone else's time because whatever happened after that hook, no one even read it. And this applies to written posts, videos, especially, or at literally any piece of content, your emails. The hook is the subject line, right? So, crime number two, explaining instead of showing. You forgot to serve me. You made it all about you. You went full blown corporate and you didn't give me a reason after you grabbed me. You didn't give me a reason to continue caring. You didn't even use storytelling, which is the absolute best way to keep someone engaged and make them care about what you're about to say. And then crime number three is copy and pasting across channels. You failed to meet me where I was at and direct me to the next step. Any piece of content that doesn't do these three things, grab someone's attention, serve them, and direct them to the next step, is literally a waste of time. Grab, serve, direct. That's my GSD framework. It's simple, but it's powerful because content isn't about how much you post. It's about whether someone feels something, learns something, or does something because of you. Ideally, all three things. They feel something, they learn something, and they do something because of you. That's how you move from content that blends in to content that builds trust. And at the end of the day, the main goal, everything that we're doing when we create a job ad, when we post on social media, when we want people to apply to our jobs, is we're trying to get them to trust us. Trust that this is a great place to work. Trust that it's worth talking to us. So that's how you build content that builds trust. So here's my challenge to you this week, because it's Tuesday, there's still time. This week, pick one of those crimes and fix it. Hook stronger, right? Grab them. Serve deeper. Direct smarter. So, all right, end rant. I'm going to pass it over to James. But if you want to know more about this, be sure to go to rhonapierce.com and sign up for my newsletter. And I'll also drop the link in the chat because I'm going to be making a full series about this where I'll explain each crime more in depth. And maybe you'll see some screenshots of your own content there as an example. Who knows?
That'd be great. That'd be great. That's how you bring the salt. That's how you bring the fire. Rhona Pierce, everybody. She'd bring in the fire. Look, Rhona comes from a content marketing background. She's embracing that content marketing background where I came from too. So I get what she's saying. I love what she's saying. There was a couple of points where I literally was clapping to myself inside my own dining room to no one, people. I want to add on to that because I think I love everything you said so far. And the first thing I want to talk about is I have also ranted. I have also stood on the soapbox of what the hell are you doing, writing we're hiring? I mean, I don't see any salespeople out there saying I'm selling, which, by the way, is the equivalent. Okay. If your livelihood was based on your ability to sell, do you think you would ever say, I'm selling something? No, you would never. But yet recruiters seem to think that it's completely natural. And I love your challenge, asking people to admit when they're doing this stuff. Here's my feeling. I've had that exact same challenge. And I've never met a recruiter who's ever posted, we're hiring. I've never met one. No one has ever come up to me and say, that's me. And yet my LinkedIn feed littered littered, overwhelmed, a tsunami of garbage posts like that. And it's like, well, gosh, I wonder who's doing it. And depending on how salty I am, and Fridays are more likely, I will literally rewrite the post and stick it into their LinkedIn post and say, try this. And my favorite is when it's an agency who's posting. These are companies who are being paid to tell you not to do this, and yet they're doing it all day long. They are the worst offenders in this particular content crime, which, by the way, crime, the right word. I just, that's the thing is like, and if you put a big umbrella over all of it, the challenge is, and this is where it sounds like I'm going to accuse recruiters of something, and I'm not. The challenge is leadership, the business have pushed recruiters into this box that is, you should be more efficient. Efficient is the most important thing. And I'm here to say, bullshit. That is some garbage. That is some crap. Don't listen to that, because the truth is you should be more effective. It's very easy to take, to Rhona's point, take a piece of content, copy and paste it across every single channel, and feel like you did some stuff. And it's efficient in that it had a longer, wider reach, but did it do anything? No, you were efficient. You weren't effective. And I think, and again, it's not a recruiter. I'm not telling you recruiter's bad. I'm simply saying recruiters generally get pushed in that direction. Quick, go post a bunch more stuff. Quick, go do these things. Quick, say some stuff. Then they don't know what to say, and we don't arm them with what to say, what's interesting, what's engaging. I think what Rhona was saying about, just a couple of those ideas on how to post a job, sparking curiosity, sparking creativity, sparking kind of, wanting to know more, wanting to understand how to kind of create that tiny little bit of friction where you go, what is this? What am I looking at? Why? I gotta resolve this friction. I need to get into this and see what the other back half of this is. That's how you get people to pay attention. The other part of that is when you go to LinkedIn and assume that everybody's on LinkedIn to find a job and all you have to do is post, we're looking for a job. I want to point out that LinkedIn literally makes way more money from salespeople than from us. I'm going to say that one more time because we think of LinkedIn as our domain, that we are the kings and queens of this particular domain, the emperors and empresses of, and we're not. We are the jacks, the princes, the princesses, the earls and earlesses, the dukes and duchesses of this place. We have authority, but we are not the rulers. Salespeople are the rulers, which is hilarious because in so many companies, it's TA who are paying for all those seats. Just putting that out there. I'm just laying that there. No big deal. If hey, blame Rhona. She brought the salt. I'm just carrying it we me. If we were paying for it, that's ours. Get it. But the thing is, in the reality, this is a sales platform that we happen to be living on too. So posting we're hiring does nothing. Why? Because it's speaking to people who aren't looking for jobs. Now, you should want to hire a lot of those people, but if you say something that they don't care about, they're never going to look. It's like you're informing them, to Rhona's point, but you're not changing them. You're sparking them. You're not creating tension, and you're not drawing them in. If you came up to me and said, James, we have the world's most amazing shampoo and you should use it, that is informing me that you have amazing shampoo. Can you guess what the problem here is? Can you? Can you, folks? It's not a special effect. This is actually what my hair looks like, or lack therein. It's not for me. It's not about reach. It's about resonance. It's about speaking to someone where they are, what they care about, what they want to know, what they're trying to learn, what's going to move them, what's going to change them. And I want to remind you to kind of wrap this all up, that if you're posting things like we're hiring, the people who would say, oh, good. And by the way, every time I have a conversation with a recruiter who says, I post we're hiring and it works. I'm like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. It gets traction in that people click like, or people will apply. But guess what? They were already on job boards. They were already applying. What did you get out of this? It's like, who did you react? Who did you engage with? The goal of building this kind of content is to speak to the audience that is not on job boards already. You've got that audience locked up with a key, my friend. It is already good. If they're desperate for a job, what do you think? They're waiting at home, hoping for somebody post LinkedIn, hey, I'm hiring. Oh, good. Finally. No. What they're doing is going, I'm on job boards. I'm already looking at those jobs, and I already looked at your crappy job, and I already said, no, I'm not that desperate yet. I ain't that hungry quite so yet. That 7,000 bullets that say nothing and just talk about you, I am not there yet. I'm not desperate. To say that they're going to see your LinkedIn post that says we're hiring and that's what's going to change their mind is insane. remember that when you're posting this content, and this is something I'm going to tell every recruiter, every employer brander, every talent sourcer, everybody in the TA world, 5% of your audience are looking for jobs. They're already on the job boards. You got them. Everything else you do is for the 95% of people who are not on job boards, who are not looking for jobs, who are not desperate to talk to your recruiters. They need to be wooed. They need to be entertained. They need to be inspired. They need to be informed, yes, but they also need to understand what's in it for them. And I imagine Rhona, being smart as she is, and I know that she is, she picked GSD not just because it stands for her acronym, but because it stands for another acronym that we should all embrace. And I'm going to say it because what the hell? You got to get shit done. You got to get shit done. And that doesn't mean doing stuff. It means achieving things. It means making effective choices, smart, strategic choices to make shit happen. So with that, I will leave you with thank you so much, Rhona, for being here. Rhona, leave them with with more contact information. Where should they find you? Where should they learn more? By the way, this is a summary of a killer RecFest session you did on my stage, which was fantastic. So I'm thrilled to bring this to a wider audience who couldn't make it to Nashville. So where can people learn more about you? Where can they get more information about GSDing?
So for sure, rhonapierce.com/subscribe. I left it in the chat as well. That's how you get on my newsletter. I have a podcast that I love doing. It's called Workfluencer Podcast. You can find it wherever you get your podcast, but you can also go to workfluencerpodcast.com. And I speak to people every week who are creating content, who are talking about work. A lot of them are employer branders. A lot of them are recruiters. And a lot of them are people who are using social media to talk about work, and we can learn so much from them. Again, meet people where they're at, talk to them the way that they talk to people in audience. So yes, that's where you can find me, rhonapierce.com and workfluencerpodcast.com.
Yeah, you are. Look, people accuse me of having a lot of podcasts and being online a lot and being a loudmouth. I have some competition in you. You're on a couple of shows. You got a couple of things going on. I see you all the time on LinkedIn. So bravo to you of kind of bringing in a bigger audience to say there's a better way to do this. I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing on the Purple Acorn Network. Shout out to Evan White and everybody and all the other people doing all the Purple Acorn stuff. Great stuff. But Rhona has so much to say and has such a great perspective because much like me, she is not just of the thing. She's thinking on a bigger plane. She's thinking on a bigger picture and she's bringing up a lot of great thinking. So thank you, Rhona, for being here. If you want to hear more about me and more of my stuff, Employer Brand Labs, that's what I do, employerbrandlabs.com. If you want to go full EBAF, there it is, EBAF. Go to eb-af.com. Yes, that's where the world's largest repository of employer brand content is. Yes, sadly, it's all me. Anyway, but that just tells you so much you need to know. I am in the middle of working on a book, do client work, but I know we've got Anna Morgan next week, who is delightful, who we both know. I got Mike Pendito after that. I've got yeses from some pretty wonderful people like Torrin Ellis and from Brendan Jeff. So we're kind of keeping this ball rolling. It's not always every week, and this is not the most important thing on everybody's calendar. And I get that, and stuff happens, and sometimes you got to fly away to go to events, but we're going to keep this show going. So Rhona, thank you so much for being here. Thanks so much for playing our weird little game. Of course, you were delightful. Love the content. Thanks so much for bringing the fire and bringing the heat. And everybody else, we will see you next week with Anna Morgan. Bye.
Bye.